Devil's giving talent, falls were just too late. So they try to put me down, but it makes me more ambitious. Success is sweet, but revenge is so delicious. Haters gonna hate.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Starters back with a special type of episode of the Diamond League, specifically going to be following Fell's Nidalee, because she did really good this game. So basically, the first thing I'm going to go over is kind of the general tips and tricks that you can use as Nidalee. A lot of them are pretty common knowledge nowadays since she's been out since beta, but we're going to kind of go over them anyway just to kind of drill it into your head. So, of course, the first one is going to be the typical spear into the cougar form and pouncing away. Basically, what that does is that the further you are away, and if you hit somebody with your spear, the more damage it does. So if you can throw your spear and then go into cougar form and pounce away, which gets you that quick little jump, you'll gain a little bit extra distance away from that person, which should cause a little bit more damage, and it's really nice to have. The next thing to do is use wards that are in bushes or just open to just use it as vision. Stand behind the wall and throw spears from there. A lot of times people don't know where wards are. If you throw your trap into a bush, they won't be able to see it, but you'll gain a quick glimpse of vision, and a lot of times it's really good and makes it super easy to land a spear because they still don't see it coming, because again, they won't have the vision. So going in and out of bushes as much as possible is really nice, especially if you're going in mid lane. And you'll see Fel do it quite a bit in this game, but she'll go in top brush and bottom brush of that river area. So it makes it seem like she could be ganking top or could be ganking bot, but you never really know. And the thing is that with her passive, she gains that extra movement speed, and it really helps out. So not only does it juke the mid laner and possibly the top and bottom lane and jungle if they're paying attention to the map at all times, but it'll also give you that little bit of movement speed to create a little bit more of a presence back in mid lane once you pop back out. The next thing is one of the big things that a lot of people don't do, and that's basically just putting traps in between the tower and the wall. So as you'll see, like right here, the tower and the wall, if you put a trap here, of course you want to do it on the opposing team side, but that basically zones them completely out of here. I mean, granted, they can still run into it. They will take some damage over time. It's not a significant amount of damage, but a lot of times it's damage that they don't want. They'll see it there, and they'll try to avoid it, which makes you have a really easy path for a spear. The last thing I really wanted to go over is going to be the blue buff. Blue buff is so important on Nidalee. I think it's very underrated, even though it's very highly rated. Blue buff will enable you to spam your spears pretty much consistently at all times, and you'll also be able to spam those heals in the team fights, and that's exactly what you need to be doing. The traps always help, of course, but the main thing is to smash down on those huge damage spears as frequently as possible, and then spam your heal. Everything else is, relatively insignificant. Getting into cougar form and pouncing, yeah, you can pick up some nice kills that way, or you can get away with it, but it doesn't require mana. It will reduce cooldowns, but the cooldowns are already pretty low to begin with. So let's go ahead and actually start the game and see what we can find out. What happens in this particular game? So basically what we're going to do with the first beginning items, Fel actually ended up going with the Doran's Ring. And the Doran's Ring isn't that bad of an item. It's very weird to get on a mid player. I mean, most mid champions just don't use Doran's items at all for AP mids. Like, I haven't seen a Doran's Ring in a really long time. But it gives you some extra health, gives you some ability power and some mana regen, and that's really useful. And especially with Nidalee, you need that early mana regen. As you can see, she does have 11 mana regen per 5 seconds. She currently has 265 base mana at level 1, and it's 60 mana to put down a trap, with a 17.46 second cooldown. With her setup specifically, which is a 3% cooldown reduction. So what that means is that if you're just spamming traps constantly, you will be able to get down 7 traps before you're out of mana, and you're not going to be able to set down any more. But like I said, that's if you're constantly putting down those traps every 17.46 seconds. which isn't that bad. I mean, it's a lot of traps, and one of the great things that she's doing is that she is going to be putting the traps in both two in this bottom brush, and that's going to prevent mid from going down without getting trapped up, or from jungle coming up and getting trapped up. And she's going to do the same up here and the same over here, just to help prevent anything coming around from the back. So overall, it's a really good plan. And let's go ahead and get to the first scene that I wanted to show you guys. So basically at this point, what she's doing is she's going to be getting zoned really hard by Vlad. Vlad's already level 2 and she's level 1, and she doesn't have heal yet. She's already like below half on mana, so she really doesn't want to start any crazy fights with Vlad. She will definitely go down. She stays in range for experience, which is nice, but she still cannot farm effectively without getting harassed massively. She's doing a great job at keeping in line of that experience, and she wants to continue to do that at all times. Because if you're not able to farm, you want to at least try to stay in range of experience so that you don't fall behind. And as you can see, her second ability, she will pick up that Primal Surge for the heal so that she can heal herself. So basically what happened here is that Lee Sin actually walked up through that jungle and did get trapped out. So they do see him and they know exactly where he's going. The whole team can see this, and it's really nice to see. He does lose his vision right before he's even close to in range, but they're able to see that he is going over there. The other one I want to show you is that Vlad went up here and got trapped out, and they saw him put down the ward right there and ended up walking through that second trap just to get rid of the trap and get rid of that nuisance. And that was a really good job by Vlad, but Nidalee pinged out that ward, so they do know it's there, and now Shen knows, and he won't be going up there for the 4 minutes that it takes. Alright, so here we'll see that Nidalee actually puts a trap in here, and she spots out Lee Sin going up top, and that's where you see that actual ping come down from, because as you can see, we're going to have vision only on Nidalee, and you'll see him for just a split second right there. And so she knows and she pings him out right away. And as you can see on the global screen, that she was able to ping him out exactly where he was, spotted the time perfectly, and it was just gorgeous. And here we'll see that Nidalee is just about to hit 6, and what she's going to do, she doesn't have any mana, so for the most part she's just going to go in. She knows she has to go back for mana anyway. She's going to go in, try to get something out of Vlad. Vlad ends up using his ultimate and his ignite, which is great. She has to use her flash for it, but she's able to get out of there just in time and get away. So great job by her. She did end up using his ultimate and his ignite. She's going to be able to come back, and she's going to be much stronger for quite some time. She does notice that Vlad goes away from that mid lane. She doesn't see him anymore. So there's only two possible reasons: that he either went back to go buy some items, or he went to go farm wraiths, or somewhere in their jungle. And as you can see, he is farming wraiths. So what she's going to do is she's going to push this lane as hard as possible. She still hasn't seen him, so she's, like I said, she's just going to farm, push, get as many creep kills as she can, and finish it up, and force him to lose experience and gold from the tower. And as you can see, Gangplank is just about to, he goes over this ward, he's just about to get in range, and she's going to throw that trap in there, get some vision, just to see what his health is at after it lands. It's not going to be enough for her to jump over that wall in Cougar form and do any more additional damage, so she is just going to continue to stay backed off from that. But after that point, what is going to happen is that she's going to follow the pings that Lee Sin is going, because he did get pinged out right here. They know exactly where he is. They know he's going to go for red buff, and since he did take that first red buff, they 100% know that he's there. He doesn't know that they're collapsing on him. Clearly, he's in this brush, and he will most definitely see the demise of his action right here. And as you can see, he just gets absolutely ripped apart, finished off by a beautiful spear. Even though it was point blank, it was still pretty nice. Some of the point blank shots are the hardest ones to hit. So at the next point, what she will do, she's going to finish all these minions off at the tower because it's guaranteed golden experience, and then she's going to rush top once she notices that it's 3 versus 1 and Shen missed his taunt. He's going to end up going down since taunt doesn't actually get any aggro, it's just the piercing taunt. The defensive ball curl actually pulls it up. She ends up rushing top, but it's just not going to be soon enough. So she will be able to back them off just a little bit with a spear and the fact that they don't really have any more minions, but that's about it. And this is what I was talking about earlier. She's actually going to throw down that trap, barely sees him with that vision, also from the minions, and she's going to use that vision to throw in just a nice little spear and perfectly smash down on Vlad without him even expecting it. So it was a really great use of the trap vision, and that's exactly what I was talking about. Use every little piece of vision that you have. Most people don't do that, so use those wards, use the minions, use the traps, everything you can. And at this point, what she's going to do, she's going to rush down in bottom. She sees that her team is in trouble, and here is where it gets really interesting. She goes into human form to throw a spear, tries to land on Vayne, but ends up just going in, throws an auto attack, proccing the red buff, which is really important because that guarantees the slow and will prevent pretty much her from getting away at all. She's going to use that ignite and definitely gonna be able to clean it up. After this, she's gonna jump over the wall to try to pursue the Rammus. Gets this guaranteed spear, like there's no way. He's too fat, he's not gonna be able to get away from it, and now she's just gonna throw those auto attacks. He's still slowed from that red buff. The red buff is so bad. She's gonna heal herself just a little bit so that she gets more of an attack speed buff. And now she's going to use this vision, throw that spear, is perfectly placed, but unfortunately Rammus predicted it and went around. She knows that it didn't hit because she didn't hear a sound. She's gonna continue to chase him, try to throw on some extra jukes. Actually ends up going into this brush, which is very interesting. Throwing it from a brush where he doesn't have vision, he has to predict the potential of the best of the worst situation. He's going to juke it, make sure he doesn't get hit by the spear. She's going to throw out a trap just to try to zone him away from hugging the wall. And now Vlad's coming in. He doesn't think that she's still going to pursue him, but now he is aware that she has to. She's going to start taking tower, but now she realizes that it's going to be really difficult. She reads the juke this time, and he runs right into it. He was able to juke it twice, but not 3 times. So what she's going to see at this point, she will see that Vlad is actually recalling. She doesn't quite see it, but she assumes since he went back a little bit and Lee Sin's kind of just hugging the tower right in front of Vlad. So what she will end up doing is she's going to pounce forward and throw a spear just to try to stop the recall so that their team can have a little bit of extra pressure onto it. And it forces Vlad to stop the recall, but she was actually going for the harass. She ends up taking a tower shot for it, which is really bad. And now you'll see that Rammus is coming in from the side. She has her Cougar form, but doesn't notice it in time. She's going to throw another spear, just waiting for it. Gets caught out, goes into Cougar form, unable to pounce out in time, takes a bunch of tower shots, gets ulted by Lulu, and then it gets ulted by Shen. She ends up flashing, and that's 2 ults wasted as well as flash, and now her team is at a massive disadvantage. Now, from this sense, they should just be backing off because they are short 2 ults, and Nidalee is still taking tower shots, and this is really bad. She doesn't have blue buff. She's not going to be able to spam her heals and or spears, and as you will see, they will hardcore lose this fight. Lee Sin kicks her into it, condemn into the wall, and bam, red team is now in a massive advantage. It's a 2-for-1, and they're just going to continue to chase. Vlad gets away, and they force another exhaust down onto the Vayne. Granted, if they didn't do that, she would have gotten a kill, and yeah, it is just really not a good trade for the blue team. Even though they're ahead by quite a significant amount, it just wasn't a good situation to be in. So here we'll see that she's going to ping off Vlad just because he's pushed past tower and he is basically aggroing all the minions, including a cannon minion. So she's going to pull him a little bit further back, just kind of bait him in. Knows that Shen is relatively close, and she's going to try to go in. Vlad thinks he's hot stuff because he does have that ignite. He is going to ignite her down, and she will do as much damage as possible. Sanguine pulls through the taunt, and the ult from Shen comes out, hoping he can finish off, but they end up trading kills. And I don't think that was a very good trade, mainly because she was ahead in this lane and did not need to give that away, although they did get a little bit more gold out of it just because Shen got an assist. So that's always nice as well. Now in this play, you'll see that she is actually going to wait in this bush just for a little bit to see if anybody comes through, and now she will notice Vayne, and now she's going to wait until Vayne gets right to her. She's not going to waste the pounce until afterwards. Vayne runs over the trap. She's going to pounce right after the ult, or right at the ult. She ends up tumbling in to it, but the vision of her gives her vision of both Lee Sin and Gangplank, so that's going to force her to back off, throw the spear right between, thread the needle, ends up hitting, unfortunately, not the target that she wanted. But now she tries to run to her teammates. She knows she's going to die at this point and tries to run away from her teammates so that they can get away, and that's exactly what she's going to try to do, but it's not going to work out for the best. Unfortunately, all of her efforts were for naught, and her team gets picked off. Alright, so at this point you'll see that Nidalee is going to use as much range as possible, use the minions for vision, and you'll see the longest range possible. You can almost not even see Vlad. That was barely, or Vlad can almost not even see her. That was right at the edge of vision, and that's the perfect range you have to be in order to get pretty much the most amount of damage out of it. In this scene, you'll see that Nidalee is actually super late to the dragon fight. She's going to keep pouncing there as fast as possible, but she's going to abuse her range, throw those spears as soon as she can, and then throw out a heal on the target that's necessary. She doesn't want to walk into the entire team because it's already there. Again, heals the Shen so that he doesn't go down. He gets in the bush. They want to be able to utilize his ult, and now she's throwing spears at the highest priority target, being that Vayne, which is a very good spot to do it. And now you'll see that she's going to go for any close target, go for a really, really easy spear, because this is perfectly lined up, and most people don't run outside of the brush. So it's going to smash dab down on to Lee Sin, and Lee Sin's in a very tough situation now. And at this moment, you'll see that Vayne, Lee Sin, and Rammus are all segregated from the rest of her team. She's going to pounce right between them so that if they want to get to her other teammates or try to save her teammates, that that Nidalee is going to be right on top of them the entire time. And so at this point, they're just going to clean it up and have absolutely no problems with that. At this play, you'll see that Nidalee is actually going to scout for the Baron. She is spotted out by the Sword, but she's going to jump in here and do preemptive swipe, just see if anybody's there. She does see vision of them doing Baron, and that means, and then she just saw it. So she's going to throw out the spear and go for the lowest HP target, which was Vlad, and it was a really good target as he uses health as well for the cost of his mana spells. But at this point, she's going to stay behind the walls with as many spears as possible to try to whittle down that Baron as much as humanly possible. And she will throw out heals when necessary. And again, as you can see through the wall, she's going to try to pick up Vlad. Doesn't quite do it in time. Very unfortunate, but she will throw on auto attacks and heals as frequently as possible. Throwing out those spears. Oh, smashes it down. And now this is also a pretty interesting move. She wants to pounce and then flash instead of flash and then pounce. The reason for that is that you don't expect that extra range. So that pretty much guaranteed her the double kill. Granted, Vlad did not have flash, so it wasn't going to matter. But as this is also important, you'll see that Vayne is running in this straight line. If she throws a spear, it's going to be virtually impossible for her to miss, and that's exactly what she does, because it would have hit her pretty much anywhere at that point. So it was a really, really good spear, completely zoning Vayne away from the rest of the fight. Lee Sin ends up kicking Aurelia into the Baron pit, which is very unfortunate, but they're able to do it anyway. Then she's going to throw a spear just to kind of show Vayne that she's still here and hanging out. She is going to go in a little bit, take some harass. Vayne's going to use that bush for a little bit of coverage, but right now Nidalee's just preventing her from recalling until her team gets there. So her team's going to come up try to do a little bit of damage, really just ends up throwing a ward. And at this point, Nidalee's going to take the tower shot, run away, but jump into this tower, jump into the bush, use the Vision Shroud, and boom, smash her with the spear, pretty much guaranteeing them Vayne to back off and then to have a free tower. So it's a really, really good job by the Nidalee on that case. Also smashing Gangplank on the way out, which is also really, really nice. And as you can see at this point, she's just waiting for blue buff to spawn. She has the timer, so that's all she's doing. All the minions are pushed past the river, and this is the only safe place to be. So that's exactly what she's going to do. She's just going to hang out there and get that blue buff. And it's always really important to have those timers on lockdown as much as possible, especially if you can get the enemy buff timers on top of that. And once again, at this point, she's going to use the vision from the brushes to her advantage to poke out anybody but the tank, and that's exactly what she did. She poked down the Vlad, did a great job at it, kind of threaded the needle enough just to get there, and either one of these targets would have been nice. Vlad or Lee Sin would have been really good since they're both pretty squishy, and she's going to throw another one trying to hit either one. Vlad ends up running into it, smack dab, ends up almost dying. She almost picks up the kill from it, so it's unfortunate that she did not. And smashes once again, easily able to get some extra vision, pings out Lee Sin, also has vision onto the Rammus. Rammus in the meanwhile is going to chase right after Shen, trying to give Vayne a little bit of help. Vayne has the red buff, and it's going to be really easy for her to catch up to him. And at this point, she's going to throw a spear, heal up Shen, and try to just scare them off. But at this point, they know that there's nothing she can do about it, and they also have backup from Lee Sin. Lee Sin's going to go in, flash, try to get the Dragon's Rage, but it's on cooldown. Very, very depressing. So that was probably a top 5 fail, but still interesting nonetheless. And at this point, she's going to be throwing spears as much as possible, trying to get them off of the dragon, or at least delay it as much as possible. But what she's going to see here, she's actually going to see Rammus walk in here and throw a ward. Even though she didn't need that ward, she saw him from this ward vision, and he's going to take a ton of damage from this dragon as well. There's only a couple places he could have been. Luckily, they had vision from this ward in order to give that to her and kind of just shove him out. Definitely delayed it a little bit and gave the hail of arrows the opportunity to steal dragon, which was perfect. And as you can see from this part of the game, you'll see that Rammus is way up here, away from the 3 carries, and so that they know that they're perfectly safe to initiate. With Varus coming up here and Shen having his ult available, that's going to give them a very, very easy try on this team fight. So once we get this started, it's going to be really good. Shen starts coming in. She throws the spear. She knows that Vlad is going to go down to the combo of both Aurelia and Shen, or at least go down really low. So she's going to try to zone out the other 2 carries, and she's doing a great job at that. Rammus ends up coming in, but Varus, like I said, is there. She is going to flash in, try to get the swipe, but she gets heal baited, which is very unfortunate. And now she is going to get picked up. She underestimates them and overestimates her own power. So unfortunately that did end up getting her killed, but you can see that it will end up doing the majority of good, since they're now in a 4v5 fight, but 2 of them are almost too low to even fight. They're just not even close. So at this point, the blue team will kind of clean up, but they get counter-initiated on by the red team. Teamfight kind of just goes out of control at this point. Dragon's Rage coming out. Shen misses the taunt. This is a really bad situation. And again, underestimating and overestimating is really, really bad. She ends up picking up the kill anyway. And oh, bam. Ends up getting that, and the exhaust following down, getting the stun, and that is going to be 2 double kills. And a lot of that is in contribution to Nidalee's sacrifice. And at this part, once again, she is going to take this blue buff as soon as it comes up. She's waiting for it to come up once again, but she does know that there's only 1 or 2 members because they have wards all over the river. So it's making initiating really easy. She's just going to throw out spears, do as much damage as possible. They're going to CC as much as possible, and now she will back off just a little bit, hide behind the wall, and throw spears at high priority targets like Vlad, once again smashing him in the face, dealing tons of damage. And now she will back off once again, go behind a wall, try to throw out some heals as well as those spears, and do as much damage as possible. Bam! Hitting down on Vayne this time instead of Vlad, unable to pick it up. She's going to throw out a trap just to keep some vision on them for a second. And at this point, here's where things turn for the worst on the blue team. She's going to throw out another one, and the Sanguine Pool at the perfect time. Most likely not meant to do so, but she does miss that spear, which is unfortunate. And now she's going to go for another spear. And you will see that Zhonya's right when she throws it, which also forces her to miss that spear as well. Unfortunately, the rest of her team gets cleaned up by the red team, and Vayne tumbles away. But at this point, Nidalee knows that they really, really want Baron. So what she's going to do is she's going to throw spears. She has vision. Right when he sees a spear, he's going to pull, and that's going to make him lose quite a bit of health. They still want this Baron. They have 4 members, and they're like, Nidalee can't kill all of us. So what she's going to do here, she's going to throw the spear, and everybody's going to run away, and Gangplank is left to tank the Baron all by himself. Ends up dying because of it. That is the most unfortunate thing ever, and the spear almost pokes Vlad in the ass, but he gets away. What this does is completely zones 3 members of the red team into her own jungle. Unfortunately, none of the other members of her team are up, so it's not going to happen. She throws the spear again. Ooh, barely misses. I don't even know how that missed, but they had vision on her, and she almost got it anyway. Again, she throws the trap just for the vision, instantaneously tries to get the tri-brush, but does not time it properly. Again, now she's just toying with them. She's preventing them from recalling, and bam, again, smashes down on a spear, preventing them from recalling when they're this low, and almost her entire team is up now. They're going to be able to be basically free to take this Baron. There's nothing that's preventing them from doing so at this point in time. They all had to recall, and there's nothing that they can do. They recalled basically when everybody was already at Baron. So at this point, she will be able to just throw traps, zone everybody out. Their team will be able to take this Baron, win the team fight, and push for the win. And that's exactly what we like to see when it comes to high ELO games. Team fight just goes so much into their favor because there's absolutely nothing that the opposing team can do with the Baron buff team. And since they almost all had their ultimates up still, and the red team just kind of came in not as a full team, but they were just barely able to come in basically pretty much single file. And the blue team was just able to clean up completely. And at this point, she's gonna heal, get a little bit of attack speed, and finish up the 2 Nexus towers as well as the Nexus. And that's just a really, really good example of how you play Nidalee and what you need to do. So for your next game as Nidalee, make sure to follow a lot of the basic rules that we kind of went over. And yeah, you should have a much easier time. Try to imitate a little bit of the things that Fel does, and I can't imagine that you'll have any problems after that. But if you guys like these types of videos as well as my normal commentaries, please press that like button, press that subscribe button. It really does help out the channel. Follow me on Twitter or Twitch or both. Leave comments if you have specific players that you want to see, or specific champions, and I will definitely try to follow them, get replays, and kind of go over in depth of what they're doing, why they're doing it, and stuff like that. I don't typically go over builds since it's very, very finicky and very different for every game you play. Builds are something you need to adjust based on what's happening in the game, who you're playing against, and how they're building in the game. So there's just way too many variables to go over, and there's just general rules you have to follow on that. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.